Okay, so welcome to today's class. So we are going to talk about glossaries for conference interpretation. So I would like to ask you a question before we move on to our further content. So first, I would like to ask you, how do you prepare for a conference interpretation assignment? So I would like to ask a volunteer to share. So who can tell me something about your ideas about how you prepare for a conference interpretation assignment? Okay, how about you? Okay, very good. Thank you for your input. So now let's take a look at some important ideas I would like to ask you to pay attention to when we talk about glossaries for conference interpretation. And some of these are from the pre-reading task. So glossary is considered very important in the practice of interpretation. So we make, or as interpreters, we make glossaries. And the other thing is that when we use glossary or when we create glossaries, it's not usually, or it's not always, we use it as a glossary. We use it to learn vocabulary, to learn about issues and concepts. And the other thing that could be quite interesting is that we don't like to use glossary when interpreting because it's kind of difficult, it's kind of problematic when you want to do that. And we need to consider to include some unfamiliar technical terms or some recurring topical items. And because we are going to talk about some computer-assisted glossary making, so there are something that a lot of interpreters like to use, Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel. But most people like to have a paper version of the glossary. So that's some important ideas. So now I have extracted 5 questions from the pre-reading task because that's a survey. So I would like to ask you these questions and please try to reflect on your personal use of glossary when you're preparing a task before your interpreting class or a real interpreting assignment. So first, do you generate a glossary of your meeting? Okay, so I would like to ask you to pair up so you can talk to your classmates. So do you do this? Okay, you have 10 seconds. Okay, next, what items do you include in your glossary? Do you include technical terms or do you include something that's considered more general? Number 3, what are the sources of the glossary? So where do you find these words? Where do you find those phrases? And number 5 is about the computer one. So which medium do you use? Do you use Word, Excel, or you have something more fancy, or you don't use it on a piece of paper, you use something else? And what's the format that you use? Do you use line out, or you use bullet points? You list all the words maybe in time order or in topical orders. Okay, so I think you have tried to reflect on your personal use of glossary. Now let's take a look at some previous studies that says glossaries are quite important. So when we use glossaries, it can be bilingual or multilingual glossaries. And sometimes we include translations in 1 or more languages. And we use glossary and some conference documents to help us to understand some concept or key important terms in our conference interpreting assignment. So these are something that you need to know because it is actually very important. So I'm going to show you 2 types of glossaries here, and you can take a look at that. So one is more topical order, the other is more time order. Which one is better for you? Okay, and we have different media. You can do it electronic, you can have a printed version, or you have a blended version. You have something on your computer, and you have something on your desk, or you don't use glossaries. Okay, so I would like to ask you to talk about this, to discuss with your classmates.